Hello?
Hello.
Huh.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, thank God. Okay. So, our we can do this by giving you the password, and then you can write it down, or you could kind of enter it and then make certain that Google saves it for you. But
Yeah.
I'd like to give you the password to the channel, and when you're ready for it, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. I'll email it to myself as well. That way I have it.
The year that the Taiwanese calendar begins, the year of the establishment of the Republic of China. So
Is it? Oh,
we are.
okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I dedicated a show with Joeblow in 2010 to Razor 1911. It was
Oh
Razor.
wow!
Yeah, yeah. Razor 1911 was a pirate company. Do software piracy, but the thing with them, and X Force as well. But the thing with them, they were doing software apps, and so you could get like Alias, Wavefront, Maya, and all that sort of thing. 3D Studio Max. So it was like supporting that end of piracy rather than just like your porn and cheap games sort of thing. It's more sort of like giving power back to the sort of like the common person, or whatever. Because
Yes.
because that software would cost like £6,000 or something, £6,000 English, about £6,000
Oh my God!
for like 3D Studio Max, and you could buy it, and you'd have to buy special equipment, and then you'd find out it was rubbish. It's not what you needed because there was a whole deprivation of sharing of information before the internet, and so it was all on sort of need to know basis. Unless you're in the right sort of circles, you wouldn't know about doing like 3D animation and stuff like that. So it was also all kept private, sort of like Masonic thing. So yeah, that's why I dedicated it to those two companies, because they were like kind of spilling the beans sort of thing on all these companies.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
and of course 90% of people just buy the software. Oh, Photoshop as well. That's why Photoshop got popular, is because of the piracy. It wasn't that it was
Right.
really good. It was like the best at the time, but most people, 99% of people who use Photoshop didn't actually buy it. I mean, they got it off from
Uh-huh.
companies like X Force.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes
so
sense.
so it sort of like
Yeah.
redistributed the wealth. That's I think that's the phrase. It redistributed the wealth in a way that wasn't particularly pleasing to the establishment,
Right.
because they wanted everybody, only like third degree and above sort of masons of a certain lodge would be allowed to use Photoshop, and all that sort of knowledge be kept hidden. But that all
Right.
got sort of blown to pieces by the time of the internet. But these companies were doing it prior to the internet,
Uh-huh.
and they were trading through Dutch companies, like the Netherlands and Sweden as well. So that's sort of like that was a connection with Joeblow, software
Right.
piracy.
Okay.
Yeah, because I always thought my Commander Makara character was a pirate anyway, because you got a patch over one eye and stuff like that.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't remember her consciously, but I take it she's like a drawn character, an illustrated character. Or
She's the Witch Queen in Starfleet.
okay,
She's the avatar that I use. That's the image.
okay,
Yeah,
right. Oh, right. Oh, the Japanese film. That's right.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh God.
Because that was a
So that is a female. That is a female.
Yeah, didn't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got like long red hair, and she's sort of, yeah, she's big female, and she's got a little male face in the corner, which is like similar to my face. It's the same
Right, right.
proportions,
Yes.
except it's black.
Yes. And I remember that idiot who charcoaled himself into a corner, who I have to shit on again sometime soon in the near future on bandwidth and on record. Niles Parkinson.
Oh yeah.
He said that you carry Dietrich's avatar. Whatever the
What?
fuck he meant by that.
That
He
bloody
identified
idiot.
that with me. And
No, I
gotta
mean
refer people back
Starfleet.
to your screenshots. I got to refer people back to your Parkinson's disease video.
Yeah.
Since you have it back up.
Yeah.
I'm going
Commander
to.
Makara! That's the way she spoke. So, oh, he's a happy 7 minutes. But she, yeah, the standard sort of like most people see as like a Japanese witch. But also I heard in a video she's the name Makara is given to sort of beautiful tall woman with loads of problems inside, which
Oh, interesting.
yeah, that's high up in the Golden Dawn, like not the Greek political party, the party that the religious group that Aleister Crowley took over. So it's high level cult secret. So that was probably why they called her Makara in the series. But it was interesting because that whole Starfleet series was a crossover between East and West, because you had Alan Watts. Yeah, it was his face was based on they based the model of like the president of the world government, because they had world government in Starfleet. They based it on Alan Watts' face.
Alan
Watts,
Alan Watts.
Yeah, not Alan Watt, the Scottish guy. Yeah, because he was like the bridge between East and West, because he talked about Zen Buddhism, and like we know, he said like, if I was to do a proper lecture on Zen Buddhism, I'd just sit here.
Right. Yes. Good point.
Yeah, it is something you can't really teach. It's something you learn and experience, but you sort of like learn by not copying other people, by doing it yourself. So yeah, the moment you start doing it for yourself, then you're actually learning. If you're sort of like learning it from books and wrote and stuff, you're not actually making any progress.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
Yes, it's something totally different from what the experience is. You're so right.
Yeah.
Do you mind what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kill two birds with one stone. I'd like you to try and test the password to see if it works.
Sure.
And since our major guy who works with the channel most, Brendan, is the guy who's available right now, I'm going to try and call him, bring him on with us for right now. Okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, so let me do that, and let me call Brendan and see if he responds. There we are. Let me add him. He should be, since he was there.
Yeah, and of course Dr. Quatermass was Sir John Mills, which I got my name from. Without the Sir.
Interesting.
Yeah. Didn't you know that in Quatermass, the Quatermass final movie anyway, Sir John Mills was Quatermass, Dr. Quatermass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. But so John Henry McMills Warrington. So it was kind of like you chose your own middle name then, kind of thing.
No. I mean it's my own name. Okay. John Henry Mills, but yeah, that's why I sort of like emphasise the Mills by making it Mook. But I mean, yeah, I am John Mills, but yeah. We share the name. That's what I mean.
And Brendan is with us, and Brendan, thank you for being able to join us.
Just John? Hi, John.
Yes, and both of you gentlemen have been introduced before, and so I was telling John, I've given him the password to the channel now, and
very good.
Yeah, it's sent a text message with a 6-digit verification code. You got that bleep thing?
Okay, let me give you the confirmation code then. Yeah. Give me just a second here, and here's the confirmation code. It's 426630.
6630.
Let's see if that works for John.
Yeah, because that was all my jokes at school, was saying I was his son or something, because it's quite funny, the correlation between Sir John Mills and myself. But the only thing he was missing was the Henry in the middle. My mum, on last time she had to identify my dad, she forgot his middle name. She didn't write it down, so it's just John Mills. It's like, oh, well done.
Oh my God! Yeah. What did she? When she was identifying your dad, you mean like identify the body?
No. She had to fill in the form where she had to identify that I was her son, and she had to write this letter where it say John's dad, John Mills, blah 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 blah. It was in lieu of having a birth certificate or something like that. She apparently lost it.
Oh my God!
Brilliant.
So has that verification code helped you get in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, good.
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but let's see. I'm in the account anyway.
You need to really do at the moment, but you never know in the future with Brendan having to work soon, depending on his schedule. I know you work for a living, but your schedule is such that you're up into. You're 7 hours or 8 hours ahead of me, depending on daylight saving or British summertime. So you might be available to help me when Brendan is not. And sometimes I need people to help me get inside of the channel, and then this way we can do things like maybe. And I still have to do this with Brendan. I have to kind of locate where all of the creeps are that Pavlov, as you call him.
Yeah.
Pavlov's bitch.
Pavlov's dog. Pavlov's dog.
Basically, yeah. he stuck them on kind of like a little savings, like what would you call it?
Yeah, it's just like a block list basically, or a list where they're not allowed on your channel.
Yeah.
But they're not blocked.
But they're not blocked. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. He like saved them in this like kind of like he was passively saving them for his own collection to bring them back later at his leisure is what was going on. And so I do need to go to each one of those and block them. And we didn't do it the last time I was with Brendan because we had so many other people with us and there was all kinds of shit going down. It was just awful. It was kind of like, you know, today everything hits at once, and it just keeps hitting at once. Whenever, you know, I started talking to Peter Moon, then everything starts coming in on the communications. Whenever I was, you know, speaking to Lena, then everything comes in at once. It's bizarre. It's like people know I'm online.
Oh yeah. It's the Borg and all that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing you'll hear in the media. It's the Borg incoming. Yeah, you can probably almost hear the humming of the engines of the cube ship.
Yes.
It's parked directly outside your house. Yeah.
So what I was going to just bitch about or vent about while both of you are here was what had happened in the chat room, and what I can't understand is what I'm wondering is John Warrington, of course, is never able to get into the chat room because he is 7 to 8 hours ahead of me, and we start the show at 5 p.m. in San Francisco time. But I oftentimes ended at around midnight or so. And throughout that period of time, let me see, 5 p.m. in San Francisco, 6, 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, midnight, John Warrington's time. But midnight, my time should be about 12 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. About 7 in the morning, John's time, but you're going to work on Monday morning when I'm on my Sunday transmission, and you're going to work on Thursday morning when I do my Wednesday transmissions.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, John?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, so John can't help with the chat room.
I've had so many people notice that. It's like so convenient that I'm always so far away from many people in America that I can't really communicate with them conveniently. Oh, who set that up? You know, make sure I was born in England and stuff like that. But yeah. It's not news to me.
I regret it, but definitely.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's done to inconvenience you and everybody else. It's done for their own convenience because they don't want me talking too much or maybe too charismatic or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, do both of you gentlemen conclude? Both of you can get inside of the channel. I'm just wondering. Before, when I went to the channel, and whenever I opened the channel up, I would have 2 horizontal lines. One would be the videos on top, which would be the most recent videos, and the other would be the videos that were like the most popular. So those would be in a second horizontal column, which seems to have disappeared. So what I was curious about was, do both of you gentlemen conclude that this is all just to do with the reformatting of YouTube, since the most popular videos, we know what they were. They were the black and white photograph of Himmler and Hitler, which got the most hits because it was a black and white. So when I
look it up with...
the 2019 February 13 rendezvous. Mm-hmm. Is that it? Oh yeah, that is Hitler.
Yes.
Himmler,
yeah, when I just go to your channel with nothing logged in, that's what it shows me. That's
at the top left on it. If I do sort by most popular, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are both getting 2 columns when you go there as yourselves, as opposed to a channel manager?
Something like that. Because like when I'm like logged out right now out of like anything, so it's just like YouTube straight.
Okay,
it's giving me that.
You get
2
the
columns.
2 columns. You get the
or
2
the 2 rows or whatever. Or
horizontal column. Bizarre, but I don't get it when I go in the channel as myself. So that's interesting.
Right. I think they might just change it for the people that are managers, like you're saying. Or,
I see.
You know, there's some other. It takes you to some other page, actually.
Does it really? Okay.
Double check that.
Okay. Interesting. And are you having that same experience, John?
What I'm doing is I'm trying to post a screen grab of it.
I see. Okay, there we are. So
that's what I get.
Maggot has given us a screen image of what he gets, and is that what comes up for you? Is all this? That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You get all this when you go in as a stranger? Or
no, I'm logged in now as a manager. I'm logged in as Douglas Dietrich actually, according to this. So
Really?
yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so let me try that. And
Oh yeah, you selected like popular, right? Or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I did sort by
When
popular.
you sorted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
If you, I mean, if you want to do a list
I
of
think
just the
that's,
popular things,
It
then you.
just changes for people that are able to log in. I think we get more options essentially.
Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah, because when I go to videos, it gives me the same thing. Like I can sort it however I want. Only when I'm logged in though, so I think it's like
Okay. So deeply appreciate that.
it slightly changes. It slightly changes for whatever reason.
Okay. So it's I'm glad I have both of you gentlemen to reassure me of that.
I think a normal account could get to that point. It's just like you have to click more.
I see. Okay. So let me see what I see when I go over there. I'll
So
go
I can't
over there.
screen share, otherwise I would. My old laptop's not.
Understood.
alive.
Right. And
Yeah, I like the way the photos of a fitter Hitler, the Fitler.
yes.
Exactly. I'm not sure how I believe that because I don't.
With the
Yeah.
V-neck.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the fitter Hitler. I don't know because I sort of like when I was growing up, I got the impression that Hitler wasn't that fit, and he had flatulence as well. I don't know how much of that was propaganda, but I do notice that my history lessons seem to be some of the teachers seem to have been quoting from Mein Kampf, basing their history on Mein Kampf. And I imagine they might get caught for it eventually. How dare you speak the words of the Führer?
There you go.
Yes, you're trying to indoctrinate a child.
There we are. And now I see the two columns now. So I go over there and I see the two columns. That's incredible. So both of you guys did something to bring it back, or at least Brendan did when he was, or no, John did when he was sorting it all out or something. So there we go. And if I go to videos, let's see what I see. Okay. So if I go to videos, then I see in the just the normal rows that they're in, and then I can select it to sort it by pop. Okay, that's amazing. So both of you gentlemen somehow brought it back. There, I'm so glad I've spoken to both of you about this. Now I can rave and bitch about what happened in the chat room. And
Right, I was looking at the chat room.
well, you won't see it because I blocked the
Okay.
insult.
Oh, I
You'll
see.
see one guy. You'll see. Yeah.
Had a stalker.
Is that-
Yeah. Chat stalker or something. Yeah.
Yes, there we are. He said something, and then he kind of went silent. It was like,
Ugh.
are you there, Brendan? Or
Yeah, no, I'm here.
okay, good.
I was just reading these, like, someone saying there was 5,000 Teslas and they all got killed. Like, I wish there was 5,000.
Yeah, yes.
I had a
thought
funny experience. I was
We would
like,
have flying cars by now. Shouldn't we?
I was in the no agenda chat
I mean,
room.
of course, they've killed other people that are, like, scientists. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
that have tried to help people.
yes, right. And I'm sorry, John. Were you gonna?
Oh yeah, I was just going to do an anecdote. Yeah, I was totally different. But I was in the No Agenda chat room. I don't know if you know No Agenda thing. Adam Curry. I was in the troll room, and he was saying, it doesn't matter about the plane getting shot down in Iran. It's sort of like it was just nothing. He was like doing voice tones like it was just an accident. And I was saying, I bet it was the plane was shot down by the Iranian government. In case the American government wanted to escalate the war, to have a proper full-on war with Iran, because then they could preempt America by saying we already shot down one of your planes. When America gets all big and mighty, so sort of like deflate their balloon. And yeah, like within minutes, I got in the feed. Multiple sources confirmed that the Iranian government shot down the passenger plane. I think it was American passenger plane. So that was quite funny. It was with moments, and he was like, "Bastard!" on a show.
And it was owned by the Ukrainians, which is...
Yeah, that was it. That was it. Ukrainian. That was it.
Suspicious.
Yeah. It was quite strange, isn't it?
No. Yeah. No, the whole thing's bizarre, and
Because they've tried that
John
tactic. Carry on.
Warrington's experience, is right. John Warrington's experience is bizarre. But beyond that, here's what I noticed about it was that, and by the way, Brendan, you get the fact that what John Warrington is saying was, what's ironic about this is that he was making fun of this in response to the other guy's idiocy by saying, I bet that they say this, and then suddenly the Americans were saying this, but then...
It was coming through into suddenly the news feed blurted, because I get news feed from multiple sources. Suddenly I think it was Neon Nettle said that multiple sources confirmed that passenger plane from Ukraine was shot down by the Iranian government. But yeah, because Adam Curry was like sitting on this information. He was trying to downplay it, like it wasn't going to happen, like it wasn't going to escalate into war. But I was saying, it's going to. But I'm not saying it's going to end up in a war or anything like that. But I'm just saying that the Iranian government shot down the passenger plane because it's a good opportunity, basically. I didn't explain the little details, but yeah, it's a good opportunity because they established a no-fly zone. If Trump had escalated the war, saying we'll continue making considerations to bombard Iran or something like that. If he made a statement like that, then Iran would have set up a no-fly zone, and by shooting down that passenger plane, the Iranian government saying, well, come and give it to us, motherfuckers. We're ready for you.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And the odd thing is, perhaps they thought it was an American plane. Maybe it was the assumption.
Yeah.
That there would be
or maybe
knowledge by a
maybe they had it quite good intelligence, and they sort of like already suspected there's some collusion between Ukraine and America, and so it's like, we're going to shoot down your buddy's plane, sort of thing.
It could be, but I think the whole thing was bizarre because when I looked inside to when I just checked up the paper as soon as it happened, they said all these Canadians were mourning.
Yeah. Justin Trudeau's already done a speech on it.
It was mostly Canadians, Iranians, and then
there
were 3 German people that the Germans didn't claim. They just had German passports, so I thought that was odd too.
Well, when I got back from work, I had a live stream going on about Justin Trudeau doing a talk about the situation in Iran. So suddenly, Canada's involved. So yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah.
They'll probably find that they're on that Ukrainian. Sorry.
Yeah, totally bizarre. And some people would say this just goes to show how interconnected the world is today. But I mean, really, the Ukrainian airline, after what had happened years ago with the Ukrainian airline being shot down, you both remember that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. They've been drawing parallels to that.
But wait.
And the Indonesian one as well.
Yeah, it was the Malaysian. Actually, it was...
Right. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Yeah, Malaysian.
Excuse me. I was the one who made the mistake. It was like, first there was the Malaysian flight that disappeared.
Yeah.
And then there was... Wasn't that also the Malaysian one that got shot down over the Ukraine?
Over Ukraine, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then now we have a Ukrainian plane shot down over Iran that is loaded with Canadians. And like you said, the Germans have so many foreigners in Germany now that it doesn't surprise me that there was just a bunch of foreigners with German passports that they didn't claim. But it's bizarre. The whole thing is fucking bizarre.
There was like 2 3 United Kingdom as well, like people from the UK.
Is it on that plane?
What they were saying was all the Canadians were dual citizens. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all the Canadians were a bunch of Canadian Iranians, like you said. Yeah, they're a bunch of Iranians who had Canadian nationality, so they were like all dual. So it was like a Canadian plot saying, "Oh, let's get rid of all these fuckers and send them in a plane over Iran," and the Iranians will blow them up, and it's just absolutely.
It's wild how they said it was mechanical failure, because when I watched the video, it was like the plane was like blown up and all the pieces were on fire. It's like that's not mechanical failure.
No.
Thank you.
There's no way.
All I've seen is
that the Iranians.
Everyone said that. At the first,
that's what he was saying on the show as well. Yeah.
Hours.
That's what he was saying on the show, and I went totally against what he's saying.
Out of like obviously something hitting it. Like.
Thank you. Yeah, and what would you going to say, John? You had the live stream on at work? Right?
No, I came back from work. No, I came back from work, and it was live streaming. Justin Trudeau talking about the actual event. Just by coincidence when I walked in, sort of thing. Yeah, but I mean, all I'd seen before was a photo of a piece of a plane, and I didn't know anything else much about the incident, and I just guessed that the Iranian government shot it down. But Adam Curry on the show was saying, "Oh, it's just sort of an accident, sort of, shit happens, sort of thing." And what bad timing? Oof. It was so ridiculous. It was always,
Yeah, they were saying the Iranians did it by mistake, which is like how can you shoot something?
Yeah,
over
that's the sort of thing he was saying. That's the
mistake,
sort of feed.
like,
That's the sort of stuff he was feeding from. It was just, he was saying, oh, it's just bad luck, and it's passenger plane, so there's couldn't have been any other reason for it to be, couldn't possibly have been shot down. Of course not.
Oh yeah,
I heard some lady that worked for the DoD. She said it was like they had of course, every airport has an intercepting system for attacks, and they said that someone left it on autopilot and like walked away or something, which to me does not sound right at all. Or like auto fire, like they just put it on auto fire and someone forgot or something. Like that doesn't make sense.
Actually, that's so fucking stupid. That's so fucking stupid. I could almost see that happen.
I know, that's the bad part, right?
Yes, I mean, it's like, oh my god. What about if you see the avatar that's on John Warrington, of course you've seen that avatar of John Warrington's forever, and that is of course from this film that is like Puppetoon. It's almost like these Puppetoon scenes where they have these like animated figures, but it's not anime. It's like miniatures, and so Niall Parkinson was saying that John Warrington had my avatar. What do you think he meant by that? Did he think that was me, or did he?
Ridiculous.
What did you think he meant
just
by that?
shows his A-class ignoramus.
Photos or something.
Yeah, do you think he thought that?
It's just ridiculous. He shows he knows absolutely nothing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I've had so many people say to me, "Hey, that's Commander Makara," or "Hey, who's that?" And I go, "Oh, it's Commander Makara from Starfleet," and they're like, "Of course," because it's something that we grew up on. Over in England, Starfleet, had the Brian May from fucking Queen. He liked it so much he wrote the theme song for it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but he didn't submit it in time, so it didn't end up in the original broadcast.
That tells us that Niall Parkinson, who was claiming he was Irish,
yes, there you go.
If he was Irish, then even though they don't like each other, they share a lot of television.
Yeah.
There's no way Niall Parkinson could not have grown up not seeing that any more than your average Irishman wouldn't grow up seeing Doctor Who, right?
Or something by Jerry Anderson like Thunderbirds or Terrorhawks or something like that. It's something you would not have been able to avoid pretty much growing up. On Saturday morning, that's what's on TV or whenever it's on. It was one of the cultural highlights for children anyway. It was one of those the first sort of things, sort of like adult children programs sort of thing.
Right. Thank you for clarifying that. That makes it. I'll have to bring that up because I'm long overdue to shit all over Niall Parkinson again and just bring attention to the Parkinson's disease video that John put back up. And one thing I wanted to bitch about was, so here's what happened in the chat room was over the past few weeks, there was a guy who attacked very quickly in a row, and then he kind of disappeared after we blocked both his timelines, or rather both his channels. But one was blocked by Lena and one was blocked by myself. But what was interesting was the guy came back. It was like almost on the same program. I'd have to look at the approximate date of the idiot that I'm referring to. So let me see if I can find that Lobo character again. But of course, Lobo means wolf, and lupine means wolf. Black is also got different words for it, like Schwarzen, the German word for black, or Negro. And so what this idiot does is he keeps using a combination of black and wolf. He keeps using like Lupa Negro or Schwarzen Lobo. Just whatever he does, it's some bullshit that comes up as Black Wolf. And so what was so interesting about it was he's obviously an enemy. And when he came in and was shooting the shit the last few times, it was one of those things that let me see if I can find exactly what he was saying. I'm trying to look up because I sometimes save these things just so I have a record of who to watch out for in case they come back in the future. But if I can't find there's no need for the exact details, but both of you get the message. He was just coming in and he was trolling, but there was something about the nature of his trolling that was rather alarming. It was he was obviously seeming more affiliated with the gang stalkers than not, or he might be independent of them, but in the end what was alarming was the fact that he had 2 channels that he was using, and as soon as we blocked one, he came back in with the other. If it wasn't in the same episode, it was the very next episode, but I think it was like the same episode. And yes, it was the same episode. And so he was desperate to get back in, so he had like planned it out so that if one channel got blocked, he'd come back in on the other. And so that was what was alarming about somebody who plotted it out that, you know, desperately or that insanely, because why would it be so important for somebody to troll? It's like it borders on mania. And so once he was blocked, though, he didn't come back for a few weeks, and then he came back with the latest transmission. And with the latest transmission, he came in again as some kind of Black Wolf synonym. And when he came in, he was writing in all caps, and this was what was so bizarre about it.
I see.
So you see someone responding to him where the guy says, "Oh, he's right. You know, what's his name? Oh, he uses his name. He says his name. Right? Oh, he's right. The general got killed. Right? The Taiwanese general. Is that the one you're looking at in the chat room?
I'm looking at that list you were telling me to find of all the hidden users, and I see at the end there's like Lobo Negro.
Yes.
It's a picture of a black wolf eating a sheep or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so
and then Richard Groiper, which is, did you block him right after that? Someone blocked him right after the other guy.
Oh, really? Huh.
Richard Groiper, which is just like an ugly name. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember Richard Groiper, but it must have been someone else blocked him after that. It must have been somebody who went back in and blocked him. It must have been Lena or somebody. But probably blocked him because he might be the guy who kept saying, "Oh, why isn't he talking about Israel? Why isn't he talking about Israel? I'm out of here. He's not talking about Israel." You might still find that in the chat room. I don't know, but
I'm gonna look at the chat real quick of the last video.
But that was another bizarre aspect of it because I'm no fan of the Jews or Israel, but obviously they're not responsible for everything. I mean, and you don't want to give them too much credit.
No, they're not clever.
Because there we are. Jason John is saying that, and he's still there. Yeah. Why not talk of Israel? Why not talk about Israel? He's there at the. If you go in at about the 6-hour point, 5-hour point, between 5 to 6 hours, you'll see him. And I'm out, because I'm not bitching about Israel. But in terms of the Groiper, I vaguely remember him. But in terms of the guy who came in, he was shouting in all caps, and then he kept referencing me as Douglas Dietrich, biological son of Adolf Hitler. But he wasn't saying that to attack that. He was trying to get my attention with that. And then he was bringing up, they've attacked your true homeland and heartland. So he's using all my terms. Right. So he's just regurgitating all my terms.
He was trying to get you to respond over the Taiwan thing, basically.
Yeah. Yes. And then he says, yes, they killed the general. And then and you'll notice the guy further down. It's towards the end. If you go towards the close to the 7th hour, and then you see the guy say. Basically, holy shit, let's see what he says.
I mean, it is odd that all this top brass is getting killed mysteriously. Or not even mysteriously. I mean, the other guy got blasted, but the Taiwanese guy, it was all their top brass in one helicopter, and it, fell out of the sky. But that's, totally possible. Helicopters are more dangerous than planes. Mechanically, they can fail easier. But who knows?
It says here, Lobo, see the guy, Hesiod.
Yeah, I saw that.
Lobo's right. General Shen Yiming died in a suspicious helicopter crash, and then it's it's a pity I had to block him. But
people always ask if you watch the chat, but it's every episode you look in there. So
yeah,
they just have bad timing.
Yeah, and what happened was that I assume you had left at that point because, like I said, I know you would have handled him.
I usually fall asleep. But,
okay, understood.
When I do check in, and the other night when I checked in and I had to delete that whole guy's comment.
Yes.
Occasionally I'll do it.
Right.
If I'm awake.
Understood. By the way, this other guy is someone to watch out for. This 13K00L11. I mean, he goes on tangents. He doesn't.
Someone was using that bug-eyed avatar before, weren't they?
Yeah, it's always the same guy. He just uses different names.
Yeah.
I see.
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, isn't it? In Mars.
Yeah.
In the Mars scene, yeah. Yeah, I've seen the avatar before.
That's right. Yes. John Warrington recognizes it immediately. Yes, it's the villain in the Mars in Total Recall, the original Total Recall.
Well, no, it's when Arnold Schwarzenegger has a dream of going to Mars, and his eyes pop out because there's no oxygen to breathe.
Right.
Yes.
It's like some Total Recall stuff.
Yeah, it's not actually happening in the movie. Yeah. He's having a nightmare about going to Mars. So it's sort of like taking it literally.
That's right.
Because it's all like a metaphor. It's all like a dream.
Yeah.
But it's like if he literally went to Mars, his brain's thinking, if I literally went to Mars, this would be the result. And the eyes pop out. So the rest is all fantasy. It's all.
Oh. There you go. So with the Black Wolf guy, the interesting thing is it's kind of like what Brandon Zoget was telling me about. Don't these guys ever listen to what you say? Because it's like this one woman who on the Christmas episode was saying, "Is your model male?" And it's just, don't they even know who you are? But that, in that sense, this guy was trying to get me upset about the general in Taiwan getting killed, and then Brendan, I never even looked into it, and then Brendan now says the top brass got wiped out, so there were others in the helicopter beside him.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a couple of their top commanders, not just the main guy, but others too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even more bizarre because it's different where you take a bunch of enlisted men and you shove them in a helicopter. You don't usually shove all the top brass in one helicopter unless you're trying to get rid of them. I mean, that's but that's what makes me think even more that it was the Taiwanese doing it themselves, or rather, to put this in the context of my narrative.
Because there's corruption in every military. I mean,
no.
Right.
But to put it in the context of my narrative, which nobody ever hears what I'm saying, in terms of your average listeners, and with both of you, I'm sure you'll get it immediately once I express it. But both of you probably remember, like I've said before. Here, I saw just the other day because they kept comparing killing Soleimani to killing Yamamoto, which is bizarre to me that they didn't. What was that? Oh yes. I mean, they did, well. Here's the bizarre aspect of it. I saw again the Americans trying to talk about Yamamoto, and they talked about this was a major military victory for the Americans. But if you listen,
that's why they have to push their victory.
Wow.
They have to tie it into World War II. That's always.
It's always what they do. But if you've heard me talk about this before, I've said before that it was a great military victory for Japan because Hirohito had been trying to get rid of Yamamoto, and that Hirohito actually sent Yamamoto out to get blasted because he sent him to the front lines to do a frontline inspection because Hirohito just recognized Yamamoto as a charismatic and extremely unstable individual who was not a capable commander. It's just because you're capable of inspiring men and you're capable of rallying them doesn't mean you're capable of deploying them. And Yamamoto was one of those General Robert E. Lee figures. You've heard me compare him to General Robert E. Lee, where he's enormously popular, but Robert E. Lee was totally incompetent. And so that's what Yamamoto was.
Wasn't he old school as well? Because he wasn't he old school as well because Hirohito wanted to get rid of the old school to modernize Japan. Basically.
Yes, there was quite a lot of that. Yes, thank you. He was purging, and then.
I mean, that's why they allowed the Americans to take over the economy and refurbish it or whatever, renovate it. It was in a book I've read. I can't remember what it was exactly. Something about cherry blossoms or something. It was about some guy who was sticking into the old system, and he was like a die-hard samurai, and he couldn't cope with the rate of change happening in Japan, so he committed suicide. It's part of a trilogy.
Right. Wow.
Remains of the Day.
Yeah, Remains of the Day. Hey, is that the name of the book?
Yeah, fairly sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me try and look that up. That's amazing. That's amazing that someone addressed that. I mean, people have addressed very subtle things about Japan before that people in the West don't know about. Yeah. But it's amazing how some of these wind up in English. And so, thank you. I'll look for that.
Yeah,
and, Brendan, see if you can make a note of that as well, and see if you can.
They made a movie of it as well,
so I can look that up later.
What was it called?
The Remains
of the Day.
I think it's
The Remains of the Day.
Yeah. It was made into a movie with Anthony Hopkins. I don't know who Thompson is. But, well. Yeah, Hopkins and Thompson. Right. Yeah.
Well, don't tell me Anthony Hopkins was playing Yamamoto.
No, he'd probably been playing this guy who was the sort of I suppose you call it a stalwart samurai thing. Who couldn't keep up because he felt like all the honor was getting destroyed, and so he just sort of couldn't. He was sort of like part of the old school.
Right. Yeah, but
what was it called again? I'm having trouble googling this.
The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. There you go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I found it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir Kazuo Ishiguro. He's like knighted.
Woo! Wow.
What's up with that guy?
Yeah.
How do you actually get knighted if you're Japanese? So it's like the Queen recognised him as a extension of the Order of the Garter or something.
Yeah.
Right, it's interesting how they have that connection. I always thought that was interesting.
Well, it just means he must be really sort of like hardcore Japanese, I suppose, recognised for that sort of thing. So it was quite a good book. It's good, like if you want to justify suicide. At the end of the day, that's what it was.
So John, what do you make of the royal couple relieving themselves of their duties, withdrawing from royal life? What do you make of that?
Oh, that was inevitable. Really. It's good news though. Why? Well, because like Prince Harry married a black woman. Prince Harry wore a Nazi stormtrooper uniform. Prince Harry's done his best to break up the British royalty, which is great. That's all. I'm good for that.
Yes, well, you would think you would want him in charge at that point, right?
No, because after you've done that, after you've done that, the best thing to do is leave. That's going to help.
Exactly.
Not even be part of British royalty anymore. So he's done his best to break up the royal family, which is great.
Wow.
Prince Andrew as well.
I know John Warrington is no fan of British royalty. As a matter of fact, that was one of the reasons that Niall Parkinson was essentially insulting him by almost affiliating him with it, and then calling him Greek. So it was just, oh my God! I mean, God, that Niall Parkinson was just so fucked up in so many ways.
Yeah. Well, people can't work out my nationality anyway. I don't know if he called me Greek. Maybe. I say I got Roman nose, but whatever. I could be from any country.
You're right. It was something like he was saying something sounded great. Yeah, he was all fucked up. He was all over the place.
He was all over the place. They always are though. Spies just don't have a clue where I'm from. I say I'm from Central, which is like centre of the earth. So figure out. Go figure, basically.
Yes, well, definitely. I was so glad to be able to get in contact with you and give you the password. Now I know it works for you, so that will help immensely with your helping to maintain the channel and also to hopefully get what you need to maintain a backup channel as well. So what about you, Brendan? Are you going to be home the rest of the day, or are you just going out in a few?
I have a few things to do, like hopefully finding jobs and whatnot. So
how did your other interview turn out? How does that look?
One of them was a no-go, and then I got a decent interview at like a grocery store. So I'm hoping, and it's like a solid job. Like they have proper pay, and I'll be basically baking bread, which I don't mind. I'd rather do that than deal with customers. So.
Okay. So let me look at this call. Somebody just entered. Who?
I just entered a link to the Remains of the Day. Yeah, because I did a lot of speed talk or whatever, like in 1994 or something, about the history of Japan going up to the present day. Just sort of like we had to do a stand-up lecture at college. And so I just did it. I covered like 5 pages in what felt like 10 minutes of notes, and so that was sort of like continuing on my research in that area, stuff like that. Because I told people about that and how there was like this split between the old and the new Japan, and how the Japan wanted to get mechanized. I think that's a more correct term. And so obviously all the old people, the old samurai clans or whatever, they resented having all these Gaijin come in and tell them what to do, and they saw all the outsiders as decadent, because like Gaijin sort of like implies decadence. Gaijin is foreigner, from what I remember.
Okay.
So yeah, it's sort of like sort of like Western imperial decadence or something like.
Right.
Or similar to the
That's
infidel.
amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what's even more amazing? So I see the film now, and the film is they took it and it's all British. It's all they westernized it completely. It's all British people playing the roles from the Japanese novel.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my fucking god.
Wow.
So yeah, 1993, Anthony Hopkins, yeah, Emma Thompson. So there's no Japanese in this film.
I don't know. That's what I remember it was being called. So that's a weird thing. So I'm thinking. Yeah, it's from. Yeah. If it wasn't for that name Kazuo Ishiguro, I'd just think, what the fuck? There's some British boring drama.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And yeah, that's right. And in 1999, the British Film Institute ranked The Remains of the Day the 64th greatest British film of the 20th century. Well,
Yeah.
still. I mean, oh my god. Well, there we have that. Well, I love you both dearly. I'm going to have to withdraw from now, but I'll speak to you again in the you and John Warrington. I certainly, as always, satisfied with how I reference you these days in the blurb. Are you satisfied with my referring to you?
Yeah, it's fine.
To our post-episodic producer.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I was worried because the description of the movie sounds so different to what the book was. It might be the same book, but it's probably worth watching anyway. That one, but yeah, it's weird. They made it British.
It's definitely the same. They said it's based off the novel of the same name, the 1989 novel by Kazuo Ishiguro. Yeah. So it's but they just made everybody white.
Yeah, and seemingly set it in Britain, and weird. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
so how do they do the samurai?
Right.
At the end, he commits. At the end, he commits Harry Carey. What are they going to do? Like have him shoot himself off with a British double-barrel shotgun or something? It's just like, and as his brains get
excellent point.
Yeah, as his brains.
How the fuck does he? How the fuck does he?
Yeah, do samurai.
Yeah, as opposed to.
Oh, he probably nicked one. Yeah, I will steal your honourable sword. yeah. As his brains explode out, sets the pheasants off or something. Weird. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, my love.
It is a massive transfer.
And we'll all speak again soon.
Indeed.
Okay.
It's good to hear from you, John. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There was one thing. You said I haven't quite listened up to the latest show. I'm catching up. I'm doing the videos as well for it. And I'm finding if I do the videos, the audio is a bit quiet at the beginning. But so I'm having to redo the audio as well as the video, so it's taken a while. But that wasn't the question. It was there was deep space pilots sent you a link to a video, an old video.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Do you need that old video? I'm
Yeah,
going to ask Lena about it because it was Deep Space Pilots. He was yes, that's right. It's on my what do you call it? Come on, Brendan, help me out here. That's
Which
shit
one?
that.
It's in history.
That what is it's like Twitter or something. It's on that.
Oh, it's on your Instagram.
It's on my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't even accessed it. I can't even access it because I can't access my Instagram from my fucking PC.
Smartphone?
What's that?
Do you have a smartphone?
Yeah, but I have to download the program. I
Yeah.
don't know how to download the app.
Oh, Instagram is a total pain in the ass, but if you've got time for it, I suppose it might be alright. But for me, it's just
that's
like,
why I
wow.
agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of people use it.
Yeah. So what so what we need to tell Jonathan is he needs to access it on Instagram. So can you access the Instagram? You should be able to find it. And my Instagram is
I
at.
have the link. Let me see.
Yeah. You might have the link. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think I can do it. Let's see.
Oh, good. Then you can give that to John right now.
Why did they make such a fuss to cover up the origins of that book then? Whereas I'm just thinking aloud. Ugh.
I have no idea. To make it accessible to the Western audience.
Most people wouldn't even relate to it.
It's just like, just like Ghost in the Shell, they had to have a white woman play it just to make it accessible to Western people. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. What do they call it? Not whiteification, but they
still is.
Yeah. It's weird. So I have fun arguing with people like saying like Chinese they're associated being yellow because they use yellow photography when they're doing during the Opium Wars. They photographed all the Chinese in yellow. So we got this associated with the Chinese being yellow. It's like I've yet to see a yellow Chinese person, or I've yet to see a yellow person at all outside the Simpsons.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
It's quite bizarre, isn't it? Introducing of all colours. Why introduce yellow to Chinese? And he's saying like, is he like Homer Simpson or something? You know, really? You know, are they Chinese family?
Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that. And
Because the woman who created it
go
was
into
an
that
English comedian. I can't remember her name. No, but I mean, she was quite a famous English comedian, and then she moved over to America. Then she sort of like sold the Simpsons over there.
okay, interesting.
So
right,
you say
right.
it might be based on an English family, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Then she was like shooting from America.
I have to download the app to send it to you. So
Yeah.
it'll take a minute.
Okay.
I'll have to do it.
Do you need us to be online to do that, or
Oh no, I could send it afterwards. It's just like a couple steps I have to go through.
do you have our man
Tracy
John
Ullman.
Warrington's,
That's the name. That's the name.
I'm sorry?
Tracy Ullman was. It was a cartoon short on the Tracy Ullman show. That was it. Matt Groening.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes. Tracy Ullman. Well, I adore Tracy Ullman. Yes, I know. I don't know if I would adore her now. I mean, but she was hell in her day, and I never realized she was English. I mean,
Well, that's
oh
what
my
I've
God.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Tracy Ullman show. Yeah, I think that was English.
Right. That's incredible.
Yeah,
But,
even though it was on
so,
showed on the Fox Network. I suppose she did that on the Fox Network.
So
but
yeah,
yeah.
John Warrington. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was what? She was on the Fox Network.
Yeah.
Ah,
According to what I read.
that's funny. Right. So you. It's on Facebook, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe
good.
so. Or something like. Or wait, maybe not.
Confirm that. Confirm that. Then you can send it to him on the Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it through Skype. But like you, do you have Skype on your phone, or is it better to send it?
Oh, I got.
It wants to use. Keeps wanting me to use the app.
Alright.
Yeah. Which app does it want you to use?
Just send it anyhow. I mean, like, you say it to
Send
Facebook.
it both.
Yeah.
I would say send it to both because once we close the call, he'd have to open up the call again to get it. That's the problem,
Yeah.
and the call can be hard to find. So send it Facebook. Send it via the Facebook, the link, if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll copy and
Okay.
paste it as soon
Well,
as I
love
get
to both of you. And we'll speak again soon enough. Have a blessed week.
Okay. Very good. All right. I shall talk to you guys soon. Okay.
it. Okay. Alright. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
Hopefully I can shut this down. Let's see.